Hey everyone, it's Aoi Beneviento, aka the Dutch Angel Dragon here, and welcome to a bit of a channel update video. So, I don't know if anyone has noticed, but I have deleted and removed a bunch of old videos. Now, I believe I've talked about this before, but I've gone even further and just deleted a bunch of private and unlisted videos and basically did a recheck on things because I noticed that there's even more old content, or there used to be more old content that I actually really wanted gone, which I didn't remove the last time I deleted a bunch of old stuff. Because you're probably thinking, especially if you're a newcomer to my channel, like, how the heck do you, Dutch Angel Dragon, have so many subscribers when you've got like 200 or 250 videos? How is that even possible? Well, like I said, it's because I went back and deleted a bunch of old crap I just don't want on my channel anymore. Whether they were already private or still public, I just wanted that old crap gone. And the reason why is because a lot of that old content reminded me of before I became a furry. And I was just a whole different person back then. I was really young, I was stupid, I was just really cringy back then. And I mean, not the furry type of cringe, but just stupid teenager stuff. Just that kind of cringe. Back then, before I became Aoi the Dragon, I was really focused on gaming and especially content from that specific simulator game, which I won't, name the full name of because I don't want to be associated with that game anymore, and that's just not who I am today. And there was mostly a lot of old gaming content, a lot of it which I find to be cringe since there was voiceovers and just, yeah, I just didn't like who I was back then. I was cringy. I was super hyper obsessed with Sony and stuff and electronics and Nintendo, and I just am not that kind of person anymore. Yeah, Sony is cool, sure, but nowadays I just do not care about it like I did back then. And as for that game, that specific simulator thing, I was also hyper fixated, totally obsessed with that. And yeah, and nowadays I just don't find myself having hyper fixations or, like special interests the way I used to. And I just don't care about that stuff anymore. It's not who I am today. I want it gone. I just do not care anymore. Now, like I said, I did a channel cleanup beforehand when I became Aoi the Dragon and stuff, and there was still a lot of that old gaming stuff up. And back then, I didn't really care. That was back when I was a different person, a lot younger, and when that was my main focus, this gaming stuff. But nowadays, like a few weeks ago, I was really thinking, you know what? I don't want this stuff here anymore. This is not who I am today. This is from when I was a lot younger, a lot more stupid, and just really cringy. Even a little bit toxic, or, a lot of toxicness from me. Maybe not specifically on my YouTube channel, but because I associated with that simulator community, it was really, really bad for my mental health. And yeah, I was just not a really pleasant, likable person whenever I would engage in the community, in my opinion. I'm a little bit out of breath, in case you may not have noticed. It's starting to get warmer again here. So, yeah. Give me a moment, please. All right. Phew. I am back. All right. Where were we again? So yeah, whenever I would engage in that simulator community, I wouldn't always be super pleasant. I was kind of toxic, just really immature. And looking back now, I just am not that person anymore. I don't want to be associated with that community or the game or different types of gaming stuff for Sony or whatever, Nintendo this, Nintendo that. No, I am not that person anymore. I do not care about that stuff anymore. I am Oi the Dragon. Furry is my main interest when it comes to creating YouTube stuff, you know, because my channel is heavily and mainly focused on furry stuff. So, you know, that is my main interest for this channel, furry content. That said, though, I didn't delete every single thing from my past self, such as there's still like a couple of skit videos from that simulator thing, because that stuff, you know, it's not too bad. It's pretty funny. I was pretty proud of those videos, since for me it took a lot of effort coming up with the ideas, the effort and stuff. So I don't have a problem with certain old videos, such as the skits and video game console startups. You know, that stuff I was okay with leaving up, because a video game console startup, there's nothing about that inherently makes me think of, oh, this really reminds me of that cringy person I was back then. Nah, I don't have it with every single old video, but most old stuff, yeah, that just had to go. And there's even old Killing Floor videos that I've since privatized or gotten rid of and stuff, because of it reminding me of, you know, my old self, the old usernames I used to have. And yeah, I just do not want that up. And for the Killing Floor videos that I still really liked back from then, I did my best to kind of edit that, and yeah, so that I'm still comfortable with having those up and not necessarily reminding me of old usernames or whatever. And since then, since I've gotten rid of all this old garbage, or, you know, most old garbage, with a few exceptions that are still up, I'm honestly really happy with my channel now, because that old stuff really bothered me. I just don't like it anymore, most of it. It isn't who I am today. And yeah, sometimes you just gotta make positive changes. Now, with that out of the way, I also want to say that for the stuff that I've since deleted or removed, privatized, whatever, there are ideas to basically remake those videos. For example, a really long time ago, I made this commentary video about safe ways to fursuit in public or something like that. But what happened there is I used images from that simulator game, so that had to go, because no thank you. So I have plans on remaking that in the future. No idea when, but someday I'm sure I'll get to it. That's just one example. I'm also planning on remaking certain Killing Floor videos, like revisiting old maps that I've had up on my channel years ago, but since that was uploaded when I wasn't Oi the Dragon back then, I maybe want to revisit it and, you know, kind of explore the maps, do whatever I feel like doing with friends there, or maybe solo, maybe multiplayer with just my friends, who knows. But yeah, just so you know, quite some videos that have been removed at this point will be remade. This could be Killing Floor videos, that could be a commentary video, who knows. So I just basically wanted to give you guys a bit of a heads up about this. Like, hey, just so you guys know, I went and deleted a bunch of old stuff, but I am planning on remaking certain old stuff. So basically just a little bit of a heads up. Now another thing, and the final thing I want to discuss, is there's also some character information changes. So what I mean by that is, most of you probably know that a lot of my characters, such as my main persona Oi here, is like a Resident Evil OC in some way or the other. And while that's still true, that used to be like the main thing the character was all about. Like, so for me what that meant is, because I was so hyper focused back then, on Resident Evil as well, I made it my mission to make all of my characters, fursuits, whatever that I owned, like OCs in that universe, because it was a special interest back then. I was super duper focused on Resident Evil when I left the simulator community game thing. So because of that, because of my hyper fixation on that, I felt like Oi and Ginger and Mai and whatever needed to be, like it was like it was just a necessity for me. They needed to be Resident Evil OCs. And because I don't have a super duper hyper fixation on Resident Evil anymore, there's changes. So now all of my characters, including Oi here, have their own unique descriptions and biographies specifically for them, outside of any universes as well. Yeah, they are still OCs for universes, but that isn't the main thing that they've got going for them. Now they're just their own character, like Oi loves nature, and there's a lot of resemblance in her likes and stuff that the human behind Oi, have and stuff. But so that's all cool. But she's no longer like the main, I'm losing my words again. So Oi's a Resident Evil Village OC, right? But that was like everything about her. That was her main universe and stuff. And nowadays I'm like, I don't want that anymore, because it's not like that much of a special interest anymore for me to have Oi be all about Resident Evil Village. I just don't care enough about that stuff anymore to have that her whole thing, if that makes any sense. So now all of my characters have general info about them, as well as potentially having info that is regarding to a specific video game universe that they are also a part of. But besides this universe, they also have their own unique general character descriptions, instead of the whole universe video game thing being the only thing about them, basically. Because I myself personally have grown so much, matured so much, and nowadays, because of that, for me personally, I just don't have any special interests, basically. I just don't care that much about Resident Evil or Fallout that I used to. Because like I said, back then it was kind of like an obsession and like a super duper hyper fixation, and I just don't have that anymore. So if I basically stuck with the whole Resident Evil thing for Oi, there were times where I would fall out of love with my own characters, because I just don't care that much about Resident Evil anymore as I used to. And if that was all they had going for them, then yeah, I just couldn't really connect. But ever since I went and removed a bunch of old stuff and edited my character biographies to have them also be their separate identity, not part of any Resident Evils or whatever, that really made me feel the love for my characters that I used to have originally. And I'm really, really happy that I decided to make those changes for both my channel and my characters. Now, if you want to learn more about my characters, like their general descriptions or their backstories for Resident Evil stuff, then feel free to check out my Weasel page and the character section on my profile there. There's a bunch of info about my characters, backstories, general character descriptions, and yeah, in case you want to learn some more stuff about Oi the Dutchie herself that isn't info about Resident Evil, feel free to check out my Weasel page. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do like Resident Evil, Fallout, and that kind of stuff, but not enough to center my characters around that and only that. And as for gaming videos, I don't really feel motivated to make a bunch of Resident Evil videos or Fallout videos and stuff. I just don't care at all that much. It's cool, it really is, like it still is to me, but not in that amount to me anymore, if that makes any sense. Basically, I like it, but not enough to focus all my videos on it, or a bunch of my videos on it, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Right, that's about it for this video, guys. A bit of a long update. I thought it was going to be short and small, but oops, the dragon was wrong. Basically, a bit of a recap. Deleted a bunch of old crap that reminded me of my old self, back when I had usernames before Oi the Dragon. Don't like it, don't want anything to do with it anymore. And I also made some updated changes to my character biography so that they're not centered around Resident Evil or something else. Yeah, they basically have their own little thing going for them as well that aren't part of any universes and stuff. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one.